This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to the CAA Friday Night Webinar Series. Tonight, we are talking about the Cleveland Bay, England's oldest breed of horse. And we welcome Undra Jetter to our webinars. This is his first speaking engagement with us. He is a South Carolinian with 21 years of experience with horses, with all disciplines and breeds, but primarily from the Arabian horse show world, including his time with Pixieland Arab Stud. He was a coachman for 2 years under Paul Bennett at the Colonial Williamsburg, and in that time he completed his level 1 and most of his level 2. He is just waiting for COVID restrictions to relax to finish off that level 2. In June of 2019, he became the stud groom supervisor, and in November of 2019, he moved up to Director of Coach and Livestock at Colonial Williamsburg. Welcome, and go ahead. What can you tell us about this great program?
Oh man, Colonial Williamsburg is a great job, good opportunity out there entertaining guests. I like the spirit that they have there, especially with working with people and also engaging with the guests and the customers and dealing with the horses and all the rare breeds that we have there at Colonial Williamsburg. You can't beat it. So it just is kind of like a dream job for me. So from being an old Southern country boy living in South Carolina on the farm, so it's a real good experience.
Fantastic. So what type of program do you have going with the Cleveland Bays?
All right, so we got a rare breed program, and we added the Cleveland Bay program to it. Just to give you, like, I guess, a little background, a little history into the Cleveland Bay. I mean, we know that that's the Cleveland Bay are the oldest English bred horses that's out there, and we know that they was born in North Yorkshire, England. And
Did
that
they Go ahead.
and we know, and we also know that they were also considered like Chapman horses, and Chapmans are traveling salesmen that use horses like pack horses. And then later on, then because of the origin, where they originated from, and they color, then they start calling them Cleveland Bays for the district of North Yorkshire.
Fantastic. And how did they come to be in Virginia?
Well, back in the day, Colonial Virginia. So there's two key parts right here. So there's a stud by the name of Wild Air. He's listed in the Cleveland Bay Stud Book. In the first Cleveland Bay Stud Book, he listed up under his number is 556. Wild Air is a foundational sire, and he's a foundational sire. And what we know about him was he was a famous racehorse, and he was born in Yorkshire, England. So that's where he's from, and he was bay in color. So after he retired from racing, he came over here. He was imported to the United States, and there's a guy by the name of James Delancey, and so he was like one of your pioneer guys as far as racehorses. So he came over here. He was in New York. Delancey wanted to start a breeding farm. He wanted to do racehorsing, and he wanted to be like the top guy. So he studied up on it, and he was the one that brought Wild Air over here. Not only did he bring that mare, there was another stud horse by the name of Cub that was real famous over in England that was racing. And then in Cub, he had a mare, and they just called her Cub Mare. And so Delancey bought Wild Air and Cub Mare over here. They arrived here in Baltimore at the seaport, And then he was able to take them to New York, where he had his stud farm. And then that's how everything began. So we know that Delancey had the horse here, Wild Air. We know that he bred it to the cub mare, and then that cub mare ended up in 1770 having a filly by the name of Phyllis, or they call her Ruth Black Eyes. So just to fast forward a little bit, in 1771, Lord Dunmore, or that was the governor of New York, got appointed to be the governor of Virginia in 1771. So Delancey gifted Ruth Black Eyes, which is a progeny of Wild Air, to Lord Dunmore. And then Lord Dunmore comes to Virginia, he gets sworn in, and then that's where Lord Dunmore really didn't have no property. He bought all his animals with him. For 2 years, they stayed in Colonial, Virginia. We read some of his documents, and he said that he did have horses in Williamsburg Park. So that led us to believe that we had horses here at Colonial Williamsburg. We know in 1773 that he actually purchased some real estate. He got Portobello, the old farm, and then Monticello, not Monticello, but Mount Charlotte, that was up in Berkeley County, which is West Virginia today, which was Virginia back then. And we know that Ruth Black Eyes, that's where she went in 73, that she went there to the stud farm where he were producing racehorses. So, and everybody, I guess, I don't know if everybody know the story of Lord Dunmore, but in 1775, he flees Williamsburg and he go back to England. And then he files a grievance with Parliament, trying to get his possessions back. The colonists denied that. They put all of his assets up for sale. And then there was a guy by the name of Edward Sneakers. Edward Sneakers worked for Lord Dunmore at the farm up in Berkeley County, where he was producing racehorses. And so we know that Ed Sneakers, and then this is where this all ties in at. So you got Ed Sneakers and you got Daniel Morgan. They were war buddies. And then Ed Sneakers was able to purchase some of the horses that went up for sale at the auction. We know that he had got Black Ruth Eyes. We know that he had got her, and then he ended up selling her to Daniel Morgan's. And then we know that also that he leased the property up there in Berkeley County for 3 years. So we go back and then we look at Daniel Morgan's, go back and read through his files and paperwork, and then he states that he had Ruth Black Eyes, who was owned by Lord Dunmore. So he was proud that he had got that mare. So then that ties in the Cleveland Bays in the Virginia area, or in the Virginia colonies. And so with that, and what the Cleveland Bays being on the rare breeds program, pretty much we like, yes, this is something that we want to do at Colonial Williamsburg, and that was done up under Mr. Paul Bennett. And then we was able to start with the program and then start breeding Cleveland Bays at Colonial Williamsburg.
Fantastic. Was there any controversy about Wild Air because he was a thoroughbred?
Yes, I guess there's still controversies out there today about Wild Air being a thoroughbred, but he's in the stud book. He's in the first stud book that we know. We know that there was some thoroughbreds in the stud book. Some of the terminology used back in the colonial time, We don't know if they was actually thoroughbreds or they used the word thoroughbreds. When we're going through and we're reading different terminology of 18th century, they was calling foals back then. They were just calling them coats. So, you know, it's like potatoes, you just know, you just make your, you know, your own decision. But when we look at that and you see that he's also in the Cleveland Bay Stud book, and that reference that they was bay with black points and they had all the characteristics of the Cleveland Bay. I mean, pretty much, you know, you can argue if he's a thoroughbred or not, or since he was born in Yorkshire, England, that he could have been a purebred Cleveland Bay itself.
Fantastic. Now, with Edward Snickers, how did he know Lord Dunmore?
Well, Edward Snickers, after the war, he was into racehorses. So when Lord Dunmore bought the property up in Berkeley County, he started working up there, training and working horses for Lord Dunmore.
Such an interesting history. Are they still active in the, are Cleveland Bays still very active in the modern Colonial Williamsburg area?
We use the Cleveland Bays every day. So we got Lancer and Buckshot. They're a working pair. They work on the carriage. And then we got some of our young horses get ready to come up. They're turning 2. We'll get about another year or 2 on them, and then we'll start exercising, working them, and then getting them used to pulling carriages too. We also use them in our little riding program. So we got a riding program. So we use our horses in the riding program for actor interpreters and our nation builders. So that's one of the things that we're doing now. That we started up a program with our actor interpreters. That's to get more people out there on the street using animals so we can bring the city to life. I mean, we also do carriage rides, but we want to give like the characters that was back in colonial time. We want to give them life. So like we have Ann Wager that's out there on a single cart. And then we got the other lady, Clementine Ryan, that she did newspaper and she had to deliver the newspaper. So we give them animals so they can actually portray the characters that they are trying to portray back in the 18th century. So Cleveland Bay plays a real important role in that. They like docile, so we use those horses a lot.
So in 2016, under Paul Bennett, Colonial Williamsburg welcomed the Cleveland Bays to the program, their rare breeds program. Can you tell me about that? I know you started in 2015, but can you tell me about the conservancy program and the Cleveland Bays in it?
So in 2016, they was able to get a gelding and a mare. So that will be on Royal Lancer, and that'll be Isabella. So they was the first ones to we had donors to pay for those mares, and those were donated to the program. And then you look at 2017, you got Clarence came along, and then you had Buckshot and you had Willow. So we got another mare, and then we got a stallion. And then they Clarence got his license for breeding in the US and the UK. And then they tried multiple times to breed Willow, Isabella, but they wasn't successful. And then that leads us to 2018. 2018, partner up with ERC, Equine Reproduction Concept up in Amosville, Virginia. That's Dr. Dipper. So partner up with him, and Willow was able to give us 3 variable embryos, and we took 2 and put it in a recipient mare. And then we bred Isabella to Stainmore Wolfhound. So that was the turning point right there, 2018 with the program. And then in 2019, we were successful because we had 3 foals. So 3 foals hit the ground. So April 28, 2019, we had Valiant, which everybody known as Moose. That was a Willow Clarence foal. And then in June the 2nd in 2019, Isabella gave birth to Fear Not, which his nickname is Monty, and that was a Stanmore Wolfhound old. And then on July the 19th, Willow gave birth to another colt, and then that was Mendo. And then the other surrogate had complication during pregnancy, and we lost that surrogate and foal. So we was able to put 3 foals on the ground. That's something that haven't been done in 16 years at Colonial Williamsburg. So popped the champagne bottles, everybody was drinking and everybody was excited, but at the same time, we was a little disappointed because we didn't get no fillies on the ground.
So these horses are growing up quickly at Colonial Williamsburg. Can you tell me a little bit about these photos here?
Oh yeah, so as you see right there, that's Valiant. He was the first one, and that's a Willow Clarence foal, and that's a surrogate mare right there that he's with. And then Monty's in the middle. Monty Isabella out of Stanmore Wolfhound. And then on the end over here, you got Willow with another Clarence baby, that's Mendel. And if you look at the picture in the middle, that's all 3 of them, and in the exact same order.
I think somebody had to wait to get that shot. Doesn't happen that they all land up that way. So here's your horses, and you were telling me that this is Lancer, I believe, in this first photo.
Yes, that's Lancer. So that's Lancer. We got Mark Snyder, who plays Lafayette, on him, and then we got the Talons. So the Talons, one of our donors that helped support the Cleveland Bay program. They donated the money to buy Lancer and Isabella, and they also been participating last year in helping us purchase more mares for the breeding program. On the bottom over there, in the little snowy picture, that's Lancer and Buckshot. That's a great postcard picture right there. You got them working, and I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, that Lancer and Buckshot is the only commercial working pair of Cleveland Bays in North America right now. And then in the middle, we got Clarence. Clarence now, we got him doing riding programs, so he's there, and you can see him out on the street. And then, like I say, our Cleveland Bays, they like taking pictures of them, so you can see them in the Trend and Tradition books. Catherine Pittman, either with Lancer or Isabella, riding side saddle. We also have groom Taylor Nick. She rides side saddle, so you'll see him out there side saddle, or you can see Lafayette or some of the other nation builders out there riding the horses. So in 2020, when I came in, we had Willow, we had Isabella, and the foundation wanted to get the breeding program up. So they wanted to know what would it take to get the program up. And I told them, I said, well, we got 2 mares, so you're going to need some more mares. And making phone calls and talking to people in the Cleveland Bay community, I found out quick that it is hard to get purebred mares. Everybody love their mares. Not too many people are willing to part with them. Cleveland Bays, they are very loyal and they become your best friends. So we was able to get some part bred mares. So we end up getting Epis, Bay Hill Gemma, Love Chili, and then we got Miss Nora Joe. And then we was able to lease Journeyman, or we call him Joe. we was able to lease him another stallion, and then Bayberry. So we was able to lease another mare. So that kind of got our roster up, and then we went back to ERC and I started working with Dr. Dipper, and me and him, we kind of think alike, and I was just like, hey, we got these mares and I need to get embryos out of them, and I need whatever we can get to carry, we're going to get to carry. If we can't, we're going to transfer them into host mares. And then we also, I put the word out to anybody that had any mares that was looking to lease them out to Colonial Williamsburg. We will be interested in doing that. So we was able to get 3 more mares, purebred mares to lease out. And so we did a lot of, we went to artificial insemination. So we don't do live cover no more. So everything is artificial now. Like I say, we went back to embryo transfer. That worked out real good. Now, this year, we are getting into oocyte harvesting, which we're going to take it up another level. So we're going to do some of these older mares that we still can get the oocytes out of them. We're going to try to get the oocytes out of them and then grow them up, and then put the embryo back into the mare. We're looking at sets and semen. This will be a plus for us because we know that guys outnumber the females in the Cleveland Bay world. So, and some of our females are older, and so they're not able to breed anymore. So if we can start sets and semen, and it's 90% cess rate, we can get some more fillies on the ground. We are looking at splitting embryos. So we're looking at that for this year also. And we're looking at putting frozen embryos in our storage tank for future use. So these are like concepts that's been around the horse world for years. We just introducing them to the Cleveland Bay world. And like I say, with the donor support that we get, everybody loves what we're doing. So they are donating for this to happen. So every year we'll try to come up with a new technique, even to the point where if we can keep this going, we can look at if we got some real good foundational mares in our stallion that we can even look at cloning. So cloning is another option, but that'll probably be about 5 years down the road if we look at doing something like that.
It's great that you're being able to combine such new technology with such an old breed to help keep the breed going. I know we were talking the other day that the Cleveland Bay Society had just finished a survey. And how many Cleveland Bays are there approximately right now in North America?
So they did a census April 25th, 2020. There's approximately 228 total in North America.
Fantastic. And you're looking to add 10 more this year?
Yes, we got 10 mares that are pregnant for 2021. Our first foal should start right here, foaling at the end of April. Knock on wood, they haven't hit the ground yet. So I'm hoping that we're successful and can get all 10 to hit the ground. But we're expecting 7 purebreds and 3 partbred.
We'll be watching for them on the Colonial Williamsburg Facebook page. We'll just see those little foals. So can you tell me a little bit about the horses that you have now? I think these are the mares and stallion that you have.
Yeah, so if you look up in the left corner right there, that's Love Chili. Love Chili, she was a 3/4 mare that was donated to us by Miss Stephanie Berg. So she's a real nice mare. So we're gonna use her. She's a half. So hopefully we can get a foal out of her for 2022. And then and if everything go good, we can put that foal in the grading program. Below her, there's a picture of Bayberry. Bayberry is a purebred mare, and she's half sister to Willow. So the mare that we already have there, she's half sister to her.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
that was pretty neat. So
Can you
that's
hear anything or not?
so in the middle we got that's Joe. That was one of the stallions that we had leased out this year. Um, um, we talked to Anna Cohen's, and she made a deal with us where that we can lease him out for the foundation. So he's not he's for us at stud, but he's not for stud for the public. So he's for the foundation. So hopefully this year we can get a foal out of him. And then up in the top right, we got Nora Joe. And Nora Joe is she's a 3/4 Cleveland Bay. She's 3 years old, so she's coming up 4 this year. So it's going to be nice to see what she's going to produce.
And of course, the stallion is the one that was the Breyer model, correct?
Yeah, Tragard Journeyman, he was the Breyer model. He was one of the first Cleveland Bays that was bought over here when we started back in the when Cleveland Bay started coming back in the United States. Let me see, it was Joe, I think, Tragard Williams, and Keenberg Future. Yeah, he had a pretty good show career, and he was a premium stallion over there in England, over in Wales, and then he was bought over here in the United States. So Joe, he's been doing great things.
Fantastic. So tell me a little bit about the Cleveland Bay Horse Society.
So Cleveland Bay Horse Society is over in England. They are the ones that I want to preserve the Cleveland Bays, the purebreds, to the standards of what the English are used to breeding. We know that the Queen of England is a big breeder of Cleveland Bays, and she's also a member of the Cleveland Bay Horse Society. We have, I have talked with them, and we partner up with them because we know that we don't have that many purebred mares. So what we're doing is we're entering our mares that are 3/4 or 75% Cleveland Bay, and we're entering them in the grading program. So we're entering them in the grading program. If these mares qualify and they fit all the standards that the registry wants, then we're able to grade these mares up to a grade C. And then if that mare has an offspring that's a filly, then we can, and everything fit the bill, it'll get graded up to a grade B, and then it'll just keep going on to a grade A, and then pretty much we're going back to a purebred, and so then they'll be in the stud book as a licensed purebred.
So grade A is what you're looking for.
Yeah, grade A is what we're looking for, and more. So what we're doing is introducing new bloodlines into the Cleveland Bays, and then going back and breeding Cleveland Bays back on it to help cut down on some of the inbreeding and coefficient, and also to help out with some of these breeding issues that we have.
Fantastic. So let's talk about the characteristics that the breed is known for.
All right, so the breed is known for, so if you look at the height of a Cleveland Bay, on the standard, they said it should be about 16 hand to 16.2, but we know that height do not disqualify them otherwise, because we have seen Cleveland Bays that's ours up to 17 hands. We also know that the color of the Cleveland Bays, they must have black points, black legs, black tails and mane. They can have a little bit of gray hair in the mane and tail that do not disqualify them. And they have very little white on their forehead or a little white on the star, but they do not want white on the body. And the legs, they want the legs to be black up to the knees, but anything below the knee, like the color drift down below the knee, they really don't disqualify them, but they mark them as mismarked. So that's just some of the color thing about them being bay. And then we know that they body, if you look at that picture, shoulders wide and deep. They don't want them to have a long back, so a sharp back. So muscular lawn, deep sloping shoulders, and then their quarters got to be level, and then an oval, and then they got to have like a springy tail from the quarter, and then the neck. The characteristics of a neck is they just want something, a bold neck, not too short. They don't not real long, but and they just want a nice head carry. So if you look at this picture right here, you can see that show surface angle. You can see how this is Journeyman Joe. You can see how the back is level, and you can see the lawns, the croup, how round, muscular they are. You can see the deep shoulder. So and you can see the legs. You can see the black points on the legs. So I mean, that's just a real nice picture of the standard breed.
He's definitely a good-looking horse.
Yeah,
So let's talk. Go ahead.
Everybody has on your Cleveland Bays. There's like, I say, like there's like two styles. You got your old style, which is like that, and then I say you got your sport horse style, and that's more of your sport horses. Your taller, lankier Cleveland Bay. That's taking on after the characteristics of the thoroughbred that was bred in them back in the day.
But they still have to have the right size cannon bone, correct?
Yes. So what they got to have a 9-inch cannon bone, and then like say their ears are long and fine, and then they should have bold, expressive eyes, and then and feet. They want their feet to be they black hooves in color, and they don't want like real shallow or narrow hooves. That's undesirable. So you need them big feet on them.
No hoof, no horse.
Yep, no hoof, no horse.
All right. So do they have action like more of a Dutch harness horse, or are they looking for something a little different?
No, the society look for something different. You don't really want no high action horse. That's not the characteristics of the breed. So they just got to be true and form, straight and free. So free moving horses, cover the ground well, move freely from the shoulder, just flexing from the knee and the hock. And like I say, they just got to cover ground. Like your Cleveland Bays are like versatile, so they like tanks. You can use them in any discipline. You can use it for anything. You can go all the way from being a Western horse to a trail horse to a fox hunt, hunt seat. I mean, you could do anything. You can do dressage with the horses. They once you get one, and they mature slowly, but if you take your time with a purebred Cleveland Bay and actually work that horse, like I say, around the age of 5 or 6 is when they start peaking, and they start retaining on what they learn, and for what they do, you can't beat. I mean, as far as endurance, they good for endurance. They just are overall, they're just a well-rounded horse.
That's great. And they seem to have very good minds.
Oh yeah, real good mind, good temperament. Like I say, you can't beat it. We was out there on the streets today, and it was warm and hot, and we was doing some photo shoots, and the horses sitting there, just like it wasn't nothing, and they was taking pictures, and they weren't fussy about it or nothing. So I mean, that just shows you I mean, like you say, they become like your best friend. Once you get to know them, they're willing to please. They want to please you. So they're always doing stuff to try to please their owners and everything. So I mean, that's pretty cool.
That makes them a great program. So this is not your only rare breed that you have at Colonial Williamsburg. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. So we do have Leicester Longwood sheep. And we also have the Nankin Banny chickens there. With the Leicester Longwood sheep, we know that George Washington imported some Leicester Longwood sheep to the colonists back in the day. They was not supposed to, but he got them on the black market and got them here anyway. So this is lambing season for us now. So we got little baby lambs out there running around. Our little Nankins, we got them. We also got Dominique chickens. We got Old English game fowls. We got our milking Devons, and then we also got our shorthorn. That's what we use for our oxen for pulling carts and stuff.
Fantastic. Now, we have a few extra moments. Is there anything that you would like to tell us about the breed that we haven't already covered? Or anything that you have going on at Colonial Williamsburg? I think you have some new carriages coming in, don't you?
Yeah, so we just did a sociable carriage last year. It's made up like the blue carriage. I know most of y'all on here from the CAA when we had the symposium when y'all came down. Y'all saw some of the carriage there. So it's just another sociable carriage. We got one coming right here at the end of April. We got another sociable coming. And then we'll probably end up doing some more single carts and riding cheers as the riding program and the driving program get bigger to have more activity out on the street. So with all the donor support, we are getting every year. We're trying to get carriages made as quick as possible. Right now we are having carriages made out of Pennsylvania, Birmingham, Double E Carriage. Those are the fellas that are making our carriages right now.
And when it's not in COVID, all of your drivers go through the level 1 CA driver proficiency, I believe.
So we try to get all the drivers through level 1. Level 2 is optional. We give them that option. So everybody's got to complete level 1. So as soon as COVID is over with, I will get back with Jerry and we'll try to work out something so we can get some of our newer drivers get them certified.
And understanding that you may have some restrictions due to COVID, you're open now, aren't you?
Yeah, we're open. We're open at 50% capacity. So there's not a lot. There's some of the bigger venues that are open. Some of the smaller ones are still shut down. But we just opened up the new museum, so there's a lot of stuff that's going on over at the museum. So and then it's nice and cool in there too, so you can go in there, and they got a new cafeteria over there that is lovely, and the food is amazing. So I recommend that. But yeah, we're still running. COVID,
So
I mean, it slowed us down a little bit, but not that much.
how much, or excuse me, how many drivers do you have right now?
Right now, we got a total of 7 drivers.
That's fantastic. It's great to see. So we have some questions coming in.
Okay.
And one of them, I know we talked before that there's 67 stallions in North America. Do you have any idea of how many there are in the world? I'm not sure if that was covered by the survey.
I do not. I've been trying to figure that one out. I have not figured that one out yet. I have not. So so some of the things about the Cleveland Bays is if people don't register them when they do the census, we can't get an accurate count of how many's out there. So I encourage anybody that have Clevelands to actually get them registered so we can get them counted between the Livestock Conservancy and the North American Cleveland Bay Society, so we can get that counted. Like I said, I don't really know how many stallions are out there because you got your stallions in Australia, you got your stallions over there in Europe, and then then we got our stallions over here in the U.S. and you got stallions in Canada. So if they if you go back and you look over the look at the Cleveland Bay Society and you look at the North American Cleveland Bay and you start counting, that'll give you a general census of how many out there. But there are some stallions that are deceased. So are you counting deceased stallions or are you counting stallions that are alive?
So just out of curiosity, so when we were talking the other day about the survey, we said that there were 114 mares, 67 stallions, and 45 geldings.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking about collecting semen and storing it and such, is that common in the Cleveland Bay community? Are other people doing that as well, or is that something that's somewhat unique to Colonial Williamsburg?
I don't know if people are collecting well, you talking about collecting semen?
Yeah, because you mentioned the deceased horses. Are they collecting in advance or in freezing
Yeah,
or not?
so some of the stallions are collected in advance. And like I say, and they are still available for purchase, or or somebody decide that they want to hold on to it, they can hold on to it for future breeding for their program. Um yeah, we purchase semen. We know that frozen semen is a challenge with the Cleveland Bays. So I have purchased a bunch of frozen semen, and we experiment with them. We were successful with getting some embryos out of frozen semen. So at ERC, we do a lot of studies. So Dr. Dip, with all the mares, anything that's going on with the mares, we run them through a lot of tests. You know, why are they holding fluid, why this stallion right here, why is the conception rate is low. So we're looking at all that, we're collecting data, and and then we look at like a stender, like if a mare is allergic to a stender, what a stender work best for which stallion, because with the different stallions, not all the stenders are the same, so your stenders will be different too. So we look at that and we like, this stender didn't work because it killed the semen. How about we try this one? We work with that one. But yeah, it's just like a little science lab going on at ERC, and we're trying to keep everything documented. So then when we breed to whatever Cleveland Bay or whatever Cleveland Bay mare, when we look at the mare, we already know, hey, this mare hold fluid, so we want to actually avoid that. So we want to put her with oocytes. So we want to skip that process of the embryo transfer. Same thing with our stallion. Hey, this stallion right here is an accumulator, so we know that we need to clean him out because he hold dead semen. So we know that, so we can start him off, and then we can keep everything rocking and rolling.
Clearly, they have the right person to be involved with this breeding program. You seem to be very knowledgeable about it. We have
Been doing it for a while.
we have quite a few comments coming in about how nice it is to learn more about the Cleveland Bays. Very informative. We do have a couple of questions for you about guest drivers. Do you ever have guest drivers or grooms? I think that's probably an insurance question.
Do we have guest drivers? Yes. So we had Mr. Aaron Fisher here from Rocky Ridge Stables. He's one of my good friends in the Dutch harness world. He was up here the other week, and he was out driving. Where he came here to work horses, to put a little clinic on working horses and different driving technique. Up there in the Amish world, they drive two-handed. So he was intrigued with us driving traditional or Achenbach. So he wanted to learn that. So I was work with him, showing him that. So he can try to get familiar with that, so he can take it up there in his world. And so yeah, I encourage guest drivers to come. We don't let guest drivers drive the guest around, because it's a liability issue. But if anybody want to come jump on the training carriage, and we take some of the young horses out and work them, I'm all for that.
Okay, and your contact information is on the screen now, and that's how they can contact you, either through email or text or phone.
That is correct.
So we have a foal question. When do the foals become available for seeing? Are they always at Colonial Williamsburg, or are they housed at another facility?
So right now they housed at another facility. Well, we haven't had any yet, but all the mares are housed over at our bypass facility. So we got a facility over there, and then we got another facility up the road, Cars Hill. So we keep horses split up, but coming when the foals are available to the public, we will have them in the historic area. So they will be there right beside the Governor Palace. And also we are building some new pastures. So I don't know if anybody is familiar with Bruton Heights over there, where some of the office, and that's where the library and everything at. So there will be mares and foals over there also.
Ah, so next time we visit the library, we can also watch the foals. We like that idea. So are they going to expand to other rare horse breeds like the Suffolk Punch? I don't know if the Suffolk Punch was in Colonial Williamsburg during your era.
No, as far as the Suffolk Punch, no, that will probably be like in the 1900s. So that we represent the 1800s. So probably not the Suffolk Punch. We are looking at Hackney horses. So we're also looking at might bring Hackney horses to the foundation and look at breeding them.
Fantastic. And as far as the being open to the public, are they offering tours right now? I know you're definitely doing carriage rides, but are you offering tours in the stable right now, or are those COVID dependent?
Yeah, right now we are COVID restrictions, but we do from time to time with our HAPs and stuff, we do offer barn tours. So
Contact you.
Yeah, just contact me. It just can't be a crowd. They don't want a crowd of people. Like if it's like 1 or 2 people, then it's not an issue. When it gets over a crowd, well, what they tell me, a crowd of 10 or more or whatever, then it becomes an issue, and then I got to deal with security.
Yes, nobody wants to deal with security.
Nah.
So I know that you're involved with the Cleveland Bay Society. Are you also associated with or involved with the American Livestock Breeds Conservancy?
Yes. So we will partner up with the Livestock Conservancy with these rare breeds, and trying to get the population back up, and then and get them out, especially like a Leicester Longwood sheep. Trying to get that population out to people that are interested in the breed of Leicester Longwood or want to start a little sheep farm. So we're into that. Our chickens, we just sent some Nankins up to a new plantation that just opened up, so they can have some 18th century birds there. So we're trying our best to get animals out there and get the population back up. And then same thing with the Cleveland Bays. When the Cleveland foals hit the ground, we're looking at this fall to be selling them to the public. So stay tuned. I will have some information about that as COVID restrictions
Relax.
get lighter. Then I'm planning on, if they will allow me, to have an open house so everybody could come see the foals.
Oh, we would love to come visit you for an open house. We have several more foal questions.
Okay.
One of which is, does the Cleveland Bay Society in the UK accept foals conceived via AI?
Yes.
And so there's no real restrictions on that like there is with the thoroughbreds.
No, there's no
But
it's the number. You only can do so many out of a mare. You can't like say, oh, I'm gonna AI or do embryo transfer and I'm gonna do 5 embryos out of one mare. No, they won't allow you to do that, but you can do up to, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's like 2
okay,
or 3.
that makes sense because you wouldn't want to promote inbreeding, and if you put too many out from one horse, you're going to have that. I can see that. Gary and Sharon Slate have read that the Queen of England is a breeder of Cleveland Bays as well as thoroughbreds. Has anyone approached her people for sharing information? I would assume that she's sharing that with the Cleveland Bay Society.
So I think she's like the first member, or she's the first member of the Cleveland Bay Society. So any information that she does as far as breeding, I think that is restricted to England only.
Great. We've been fortunate enough to see several of her Cleveland Bays when we've been to the Royal Windsor Horse Show, and they're all very lovely. We have another question. Joni had a Cleveland Bay stallion imported from England in the 1960s to California. His name was Mulgrave Fairfax, and she was wondering if the Mulgrave line still exists.
Yes, there's still Mulgrave Supreme that is still in some of the bloodlines today. It's probably anywhere between 4 generations back, but that bloodline still exists.
Fantastic. So probably our final question for the evening, because I think this one might take a few minutes. Roger would like to know about your carriage restoration plans and programs.
On our carriage restoration, every year we always pull 1 carriage out of the circulation, go over it, check it, maintain it, make sure everything is on the up and up. We will break the carriage down, and then if it need to be repainted, we repaint it. If there's any type of structural damage done, millineries we'll carve and put new pieces on there, and then we'll paint it, and then put it all back together, and then put it out for service. But most of the time, usually we'll take 1 carriage out of rotation. I think right now we got 11 carriages. We're trying to add about 13 to the fleet. So with the carriage operation right now is good, and like I told them, if it's not broke, don't fix it. All we want to do is we want to add more drivers so we can have like 8 carriages out on the street at one time every day.
That's fantastic that you have so much interest in it. How many horses do you have in that program?
All together we got about 43 horses at the foundation, and like I said, most of them are carriage horses, except for the 14 that we have for the Cleveland Bays. We got about 14 Cleveland Bays there. So everything else is are driving or riding horses. And then we got, like I said, we got Lancashire and Buckshot. They are purebred Cleveland Bays that are also pulling the carriage.
So what other breeds are pulling the carriages?
most of the breeds that we got, like I said, we're starting to bring in Dutch harness horses. So we got Dutch harness horses. We got Parisian standardbred cross. We got Percherons, draft horse cross, Morgan crosses with some draft horses. So we got all different type. We did have a Hanoverian, but we don't have a Hanoverian no more. And Dutch warm bloods, and we do have some Gelderlanders there also.
So I understand that you're probably looking for good minds and sound horses. How much consideration are you giving to breeds that were there during Colonial Williamsburg time, and how much is consideration of their bay and they look like the rest of the group?
So yeah, we look for horses with good mindsets, and that can go out there and do their job. They got to be people friendly. They got to deal with like all the people, all the crowds. They got to deal with fifing drums, deal with the cannons, the musket guns going off. So I mean, it's a lot that that horse got to put up with. And like I said, when I go through looking at horses and evaluate horses, I just put them through a little stress test, and then and we just put them around a lot of stuff. And when the first time that we do it, we know they're gonna be nervous and they're gonna shy away. And then I just come back, as like I say, it's just mostly repetition, and then see if the horse is gonna get it. And the horse got a good mindset, he'll start settling down. But if he don't get it, then at that point I make a decision that this horse is not he's not safe for what we do. He might be okay for somebody else, and then at that time we will look at selling the horse, or seeing if anybody would want it. But like I said, we're moving out of draft horses, because we know that draft horses was 19th century, and it wasn't the 17th and the 18th century. So we're looking at moving into more of light working horses. So that's why we're looking at Dutch harness horses, like I say, crossing Hackneys with the Clevelands, Yorkshire coach horse type horses, and we're looking at putting horses like that out there pulling the carriage.
That's a really good answer. I didn't realize that the draft horses weren't so much in use, or the draft crosses even. So we do have one more question. I promise this is the last one.
Are you fine?
How hot is that costume during the summer?
Very hot. Very, very hot. Now you got to think about it. You got the muggy Virginia heat, and then you got wool on, so it's very hot.
And then I think we are done for the evening. We have had a great time. Thank you so much for joining us. And I really appreciate that this is your first time doing not only a webinar, but doing a presentation like this. So we greatly appreciate you doing that for us. And hopefully we'll be able to come back and see you in Colonial Williamsburg soon. We are getting lots of comments in about how much they enjoyed it. And several people have commented that they're hoping to get to Colonial Williamsburg soon. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank y'all for being on today and listening. And like I said, if anybody need to get in contact with me, if y'all want to come and visit, I'm glad to take you around and give you a tour of the barn. And anybody that want to come drive, let's drive.
We're all up for driving. Thank you so much.
Thank you.